Welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session, we're going to be covering the NOC best practices with the AIOps and real-life examples. Joining me today is Yaron Front and Jason Rush. They will do their formal introductions shortly. But before we get started, just a reminder, there is the Q&A section of Zoom if you have any questions. You will remain muted until the end, and we will have roughly 15 to 20 minutes at the end where we will take your questions live. So with that, I'm now going to hand over to Yaron to get us started. Over to you, Yaron.
Thanks, Sam. And welcome everybody to our AIOps webinar series. Today we're going to do something just a little bit different. So today we have a fireside chat, and I'm excited to be joined by Jason Rush, my friend Jason, who leads our Customer One teams around disruption support. And I'm going to be talking to Jason about NOC best practices with AIOps. And what's really exciting is that Jason's going to share some real life examples with us on how AIOps really brings value in the NOC. So Jason, let's kick it off with a simple, easy question. So what exactly do you do at BMC, and what does your team do as what we call Customer One?
Yeah, and hi Samantha, hi Yaron. Thank you for having me here. It's great being on this. And yes, so what do I do for BMC? It's a great question. I head up disruption support, as you said. What does that mean? So those are teams specifically under my org that are around incident, problem management, SRE, top customer, and customer communications. With that, we are Customer One, as you said, which means we are using BMC to essentially service BMC. We're using BMC's ITSM products and ITOM products as the way to prevent outages, prevent disruptions, and solve outages and remediate outages, and using it through incident management and problem management at BMC.
Great. So that's what you do at BMC. So let's dive in a little bit to and talk a little bit about the journey and where you've taken disruption support and NOC operations using AIOps and service ops with observability. And could you just kind of tell us some of the main challenges you had before implementing AIOps at BMC?
Yeah, lots of challenges. And I'd say that the biggest challenge we were having was the fact that about 3 years ago, before we implemented AIOps, we had about 3 times the volume of incidents that we're having now. So lots of noise, right? And also the ability to handle that noise was not very strategic. You would just basically be playing whack-a-mole with alerts and incidents as they came in. We were experiencing multi-customer outages as a result. We were experiencing numerous outages, increased outages as a result, because you can only play whack-a-mole so much, right? We were being I would say the automations that we were putting in place were not strategic enough to make a dent into decreasing the outages, and then the efforts we were making to reduce the noise were also unfortunately not helping us improve our outcomes. This is a very challenging situation to be in when you're fighting fires and fires are continuously happening, and you're also trying to think of ways to fight fires differently while a lot of fires are happening. And you know, we didn't have any sort of AI tool or observability tool to really focus on, or to really use that would help us in getting this down. Although we had plenty of work streams and initiatives in place and trying to bring in problem management into the fold. But again, it was just a very, very challenging, insurmountable operation that we had before AIOps.
Wow, that sounds like a lot to handle. So what changed? How has AIOps and observability help you in preventing outages or handling the disruptions that you just described?
Yeah, and right away seeing a tool like AIOps come in, it's basically like a forest through the trees tool. It's also like having a personal trainer standing over you while you exercise. So bringing in a tool like AIOps, you can't just plug and play, right? You have to put in maturity around your alerts. You have to do a lot of cleanup around your data to make sure that the data going into AIOps actually serves the tool just as much as it serves you and helps you reduce your outages and gets you to accomplish your goals around protecting customers and SLAs. So AIOps came in and right away impacted how we remediated alerts just due to that. We set up service models using discovery blueprints. We migrated away from TSOM into BHOM in order to truly have the ITOM components such as AIOps flow specifically with ITSM inside of a BMC service ops model. Situations, which I call intelligent incidents or AI incidents, these are what are the lifeblood now of what we do, of the actions that we take to remediate customers. I want my NOC using situations before any other type of event or incident or one-off alert to determine what to do to remediate a customer's environment proactively. Reason being is that AIOps has a wealth of information with a situation. It tells you what it groups up the like alerts within the same service models. It also has the ability to run automation against it. So you don't even have to, a human being doesn't have to do anything. It will actually remediate automatically based on those grouped alerts. And then, the outages themselves started to decrease significantly. We actually took a much more successful proactive model once we were able to bring in this tool and get our service models in place.
Oh, that's very interesting. And so how did you get there? I mean, I'm sure our audience is going to be really interested to learn about what was the path that you took there. How did you work with other teams on your journey from where you were in the beginning with the outages and the slowdowns and the disruptions to where you are today, where you have AIOps helping you manage hundreds of critical SaaS services that we provide to customers.
Right. So we worked very close with the ops teams, the architects of AIOps, and monitoring teams as well to ensure that our situations and events that were coming in were reflecting our service health based on how those service models were set up. We definitely had some moments where we had to look at whether we did things correctly and start from the drawing board all over again. It's very easy to just dump a ton of data into AIOps and not get value if you're not doing things thoughtfully and carefully. And that's what I mean with the personal trainer aspect. It helps you make your it helps you mature your monitoring system, your monitoring processes that you have in place, and your overall thresholds and monitors. So this took some time. We had to collaborate very closely with these teams, lots of meetings daily to get this going, to ensure that when we were seeing things coming into AIOps, they weren't false positives. They were actually true to the environment itself. And we could also take away our reliance on the one-off incidents and go more into the situations. We showed a 60% reduction in MTTR because of AIOps once we had this in place. And then we started to see the outages go down significantly. And this is because we were able to reduce the noise. We were able to get more meaningful situations in place versus one-off lots and lots of incidents whenever there was a risk of an outage or a disruption. And this also freed up the time for the NOC to be able to be more proactive and take a proactive approach. So all of a sudden we're having health bridges now, and we're looking at the data that AIOps is providing us. Maybe you had a bunch of situations come up and you had a few over a 24-hour or 48-hour, even a 7-day period. Now you're looking at that data and you're being strategic, and you're having health bridges or preventative bridges to remediate customers' environments and being much more proactive than you ever were. This is where we saw significant improvements and significant benefits of having this.
Cool. And so one of the major tenets that we've been talking about for many months now in this webinar series, one of the big tenets for using AIOps efficiently is root cause isolation and root cause identification. can you tell us a little bit how that works and how you identify root cause and impact using service models?
Yep, absolutely. And as you can see here, we have a service model on the screen, two of them actually. So a situation will get created if two or more events in an incident happen. So basically, if within a service model, within each one of these diagrams, if there's more than one incident or alert or event, depending on how you have it set up, trigger, you will then get a situation in a specified time window. And in our case, it's 30 minutes. With BMC, these service models in place using discovery, each time we get these events from BHOM, it creates an incident in ITSM in our world, right? So when I say two or more incidents, it's an event. We see these situations, and then with AIOps and with the topology and the overlay of the service model where the impact would be, which is unbelievably helpful for us. That's not something you get with an incident management tool or just your prototypical tools like Nagios or others similar. This actually tells us where the probability is and where the root cause would be and where you go first to remediate and pull out your run books. This saves us a lot of time and steps, obviously, because we can beeline straight to the root cause and cut our MTTR significantly.
Well, that's really interesting, but let's try and give our audience a more kind of concrete or more specific example. Let's say, can you walk us through an example of how you would handle significant increase in load on a specific business service?
Sure. So we prevented many outages through examples such as the one you're seeing here, like pod CPU health alerts accompanied with database CPU causing degradation to a database application. You can see that there's topology on the top, which tells us where the actual problematic node is. And then on the bottom, you can see the situation, and you can go into that and see where the events map and what the root causes of the situation. In this case, it would not be restarting pods to remediate, which is what would have been done if you got the one alert or event for this particular disruption, further delaying the customer outage and the impact, but going straight to the database, killing a long-running query is what would solve this outage. So we have the ability to get a better line of sight to the root cause and not do something that, the one thing that kills you on a bridge and kills your MTTR is trying to remediate something that is a guess or is a probability, but it's the wrong one. Now you've just wasted time doing something, waiting for something to come back online, and it didn't fix the problem. The problem's still there. With AIOps, that takes away the guessing, right? That tells you where you're going to go, tells you what you need to do and how you need to fix it, essentially. And then our synthetic application monitoring might tell us our performance is slow. And in the past, this would be all we have to go by, right? So we have numerous runbooks against this, numerous checks to diagnostically see what's causing the slowness. But AIOps will group different layers, such as network latency or database health, anything around that. And it'll be able to tell which layer is the problematic layer to go to and remediate.
So that's how today you react to specific situations like an increase in load on a business service. But can you talk a little bit about your day-to-day? So how do you use AIOps and observability kind of in your day-to-day on a regular basis?
Sure. I mentioned that we have an SRE team within my org, disruption support. So it's a very small team that we created to further out our journey on AIOps and expedite our journey, essentially. The NOC incident management teams all have day jobs where they are fighting the constant load that we talked about as your first question, Yaron, on what was going on 3 years ago. So bringing on an extra team, very, very small, that has the skill set of both NOC and MIM, but also SRE, can come in and help us create automation and help us attach those to situations. So now we are not only being more proactive with a tool like AIOps, but we're also eliminating the need for manual toil, where the NOC or the incident management or MIM team will have to run manual steps to remediate these situations. So they come in, they're creating these intelligent automations, attaching to situations. They're having daily health bridges on let's say 24 or 48-hour windows of situations to customers, and then this is preventing any outages even further.
Wow. So one of the things that you did mention just now is your move or the shift that you made from being reactive to being more proactive in disruption support and service management. How has this shift impacted your day-to-day or your operations?
Yeah, I think the noise reduction, working closely with the monitoring teams, with the infrastructure and R&D teams on the product, gave us the ability to clean up the monitoring, which again, we needed that to get AIOps to work properly. But that in itself reduced the noise and gave us the ability to be more proactive with our actions and outcomes within my NOC and incident teams, as well as this SRE team I mentioned. So you can see we started to see a huge rise here, and this is actually not even indicative of today. It's a lot higher, but we really greatly shifted over into a proactive model, into a health preventative model as well by working closely, collaborating closely with those teams, and getting the noise reduction that we needed to in place to configure AIOps properly. And then the next focus is to attach, obviously, more and more intelligent automations into these scenarios that would continue to reduce toil and add great cost savings to the journey.
Okay, so you mentioned intelligent automation. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and what role it plays? So maybe a couple of examples of how you use automation.
Yep. When we have a situation that we're seeing that occurs repeatedly, such as disk space or a temp directory filling up around that, long-running queries is another example. We can then, we have automation for these things, but they're not attached to these situations, which we know are very accurate in what the root cause is. So it's one thing to attach an automation to an alert. We already know that sometimes those alerts mean one thing, but not exactly the root cause. But with AIOps, we have these intelligent situations that are coming in, these AI situations that are coming in through AIOps. And if we attach an intelligent automation to a situation, then our likelihood to actually remediate and prevent disruption is much higher, much greater. And that's what we're seeing. So we're tracking these on a dashboard and prioritize automating this with my SRE team and then the larger SRE team within the ops org. And this is giving us a lot of cost savings that we're having, which is basically taking both my incident and NOC teams out of the equation. They're just watching, the situations come up and they get remediated, and instead of wasting time remediating every single thing that comes through.
Interesting. So there's a lot of value in automation, but you also mentioned a little bit about being more proactive and looking into the future. So predictions seem to be key to what you do on a daily basis. So how do these predictions, how do they help you to find root causes quicker?
So predictions is the next step in the journey, and we're still on that journey, right? We're still trying to figure that out and get that to a place where it's consistently helping us not even have the situation, right? So first step was reducing the noise, getting our alerts into a better place, and being more proactive and preventative with AIOps, and getting our situations and service models where we needed them to be for the tool to provide the great value. Second step is now adding intelligent automation to these situations because they're valid, and preventing disruptions and being proactive and preventative in parallel. The third step is predictions, where we eliminate the situation completely, and that's where the tool helps us by using health check indicators, where it'll tell us in the future, based on the data, the AI data loaded into it, when a situation is going to come up. And then you can put automation into that future checkpoint that it's predicting and avoid the situation completely, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah. So if you get this right, you can eliminate the noise completely. You can eliminate even the situations from showing up.
So can you share some actual success stories that you had with predictions? Because it sounds like science fiction almost.
Right. So some examples that we have using predictions on a Kafka broker for a critical KPI threshold violation. Our NOC created a proactive bridge to avoid potential customer impact. Similarly, with AWS RDS, a critical CPU metric threshold violation with predictions, we avoided customer impact by creating a proactive bridge. So you can see here these red dots are showing you in future state when it's likely to have that situation, and that's where you can attach these intelligent automations to, or you can schedule a proactive bridge with your teams, however you want to do it, if you don't want to put the automation in place. But as you can see here, the tool is telling us with those red dots on both of those screenshots when it is predicting that there will be a disruption to the customer based on previous disruptions and alerts.
Well, this is all really, really exciting stuff, Jason, and very impressive. And thank you for sharing these insights and giving us kind of a sneak preview into how you work with AIOps and service ops in disruption support and NOC management. To me, at least, it's clear that AIOps and observability have made a really significant impact on what you and your team do every day.
Yeah, absolutely, and happy to give a demo if you want to see a walkthrough of what we have in place. And one thing I didn't really get to show, and I'll go back a little bit, Yaron, is the one challenge that we have as customer one is we're using all of BMC's products. So we have ITSM and we have ITOM, everything, right, in BMC SaaS offerings. So how do you get AIOps, which is now this new tool, in place when your NOC is already looking at ITSM or something else, right? So the one thing that we did was bring in a Grafana Helix dashboard in place to create panels that, one, kept the situations front and center, that we make sure we're using that. Like I said, this is a lifeblood of our actions and outcomes, but also not leaving one-off incidents in the dust and still being able to keep an eye on them, such as one-off database alerts, availabilities, and performance. This is a journey. This is going to be, to get everything to be situations is going to take you some time, and you're going to want to keep an eye on things that come into your NOC one way or another. You also want to have a single pane of glass to make sure that your NOC's eyes are starting at the same place, the first step, right, as opposed to watching multiple screens and potentially missing things. So I wanted to just show you that, and then I can give you a demo of what this looks like in real time.
That would be great. And again, I think that you touched on a really important point there with the single pane of glass and having consistency of view. So when a person looks at the same screen as everybody else and it has everything they need to know, I think that's very powerful and very impressive.
Yep. Let me just share, and I can show you what our demos look like. You see my screen okay?
We can.
So here is what that single pane of glass looks like. And then we have our situations right here. Now we have multiple panels in place that help us to be proactive. So I've set this up with the help of product as well to ensure that we can be as proactive as we can be, right? So we can stay ahead of any potential outages. The worst thing you want to be in a NOC is reactive. It's just reacting to fires, customers telling you that they're down. So we want to make sure we're staying in front of that. And then as we go into AIOps, you have two ways that you can utilize the tool. You can use service health or you can use situations. So situations is obviously the what we've been talking about, where if you have an outage, you get this in place. Now, the one thing that's great is it's not showing here is best action response. I do have a screenshot I can show you on that too, Yaron, if we want to go back to that. But within this situation, we can now click and see, okay, what's going on here? I'll click on one of these situations and then let it load. We are in a demo environment. So here's what I meant when I said best action response. Now, the AI will tell us, Helix GPT will tell us what is wrong, what does this alert mean, and how do we resolve it, which is unbelievably amazing. This is using previous data from outages and alerts. This is using ITSM, ITOM data, anything that we want to pump into a Confluence runbooks. And then it tells you step by step how you can remediate it. You can also add code snippets too here as well. Along with that, you can have a chat with the actual AI to ask it interactively more in detail about what the situation is telling us. The other side is the services health. So we use this. This is also represented in our dashboard as well, that single pane of glass that I was mentioning over here. If I scroll down right here, they're not matched up. This is actually a demo version of mine, and then this is a different demo version. But so this one is telling my team, look, you have a customer that's unhealthy here. There may not be a lot of situations, but there's one that happened a few minutes ago that you need to go look at, and then this tells you the probability of where to go and what to resolve. And that's a quick high-level demo of the operation of utilizing AIOps and utilizing a dashboard on top of it.
That is very interesting and very cool, honestly. I mean, the fact that you can look at situations, look at a service. So what we're looking at right now is a view of a specific service. You can see the topology, you can see root cause, you can see the health timeline, and then you can drill down into situations. That's all very interesting and good to see. Sam, back to you.
Thank you, and thank you for answering the questions earlier. We don't have any more in the Q&A, so I think it's probably a good time to say thank you for presenting today. Really appreciate it. Hopefully our audience has found it useful. For those that haven't joined the other webinar series before, we will send out the links so you can look at the past sessions. I think we're on series 10 now, or episodes that we've done. We will be constructing something for March, so do look out on the webinar page on communities. One other call to action is if you are a customer that's interested in getting $25, and obviously it'd be respective to your location, there is a gift card. We are interested in hearing your survey for Gartner. So if you can either use the QR code, I will also send you the direct link if you don't have your mobile phone handy. We also have a resources slide which will list all of the past sessions that we've done as well, references. So here is some really useful stuff to get you started if you're on your early stages of your AIOps journey. And I think click the next slide, please. So these are all our past sessions that we've had, so really useful for you to go and have a look at. And we will be adding this session for the next session when we come to March. So thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate your time and hopefully see you all very soon.